Make in India is an initiative by the Indian government through which the companies interested in selling their products in India have to manufacture some part or the whole product in India itself. This is a program to boost Indian manufacturing and to utilize the abundant labor factor to increase the GDP. Being the multi-billion-dollar and most lucrative defense market in the world, India provides several opportunities for Indian and foreign corporate entities for defense manufacturing. Major players in defense manufacturing. Tata is one of the most renowned names of India. Tata is emerging as a defense manufacturing giant. It is viewing from tanks to jets on its assembling line. Tata is playing a key role with global defense leaders under the Make in India campaign. With Boeing, Tata has undertaken a number of projects like the Indian Navy's long-range surveillance and anti-submarine aircraft P-8I Poseidon, the Globemaster and the most fierce gunship Apache, which are on order for the IAF. Tata is manufacturing different parts under these projects for both Indian and global markets. These are highly capable aircrafts which will be modified for Indian Defence Forces use. These will be manufactured in India by Tata Airbus Consortium. The Rafale jet deal is one of the most awarded deals for Indian defense manufacturing. Under Make in India initiative, 50% of the deal's amount has to be invested in India. The 70% parts of the aircraft are to be imported from India. Various big and small industries are going to get business worth over 3 billion euros. Saab has offered its latest jet, the Gripen NZ, for replacing the IAF's retiring MiG-21 fleet. Saab has made its full efforts to turn the tables. Saab has offered THE manufacturing of aircraft in India itself, and to provide consultancy for the upgraded version of indigenous Tejas aircraft. Besides the aircraft, the Saab is also eyeing the $5.2 billion contract for the missiles package needed by the Indian Army and Navy. Saab has already formed a joint venture with Kalyani Strategic Systems for the production and delivery of packages within the program. Saab is also in talks with Tata for manufacturing of self-protection systems for land vehicles. Days are gone when India used to import jets for the protection of its skies. Under the single-engine jet requirement of the IAF, the US giant Lockheed Martin has also placed its bid of producing its latest and exclusive variant of F-16 fighter jets, which will be produced only in India. The production facility will produce the components for different variants operating or needed by different parts of the world. Besides the Air Force, the Indian Navy is also looking for 60 twin-engine shipboard fighters for the upcoming aircraft carriers of the Indian Navy. Boeing has offered its F-18 Super Hornets, the latest variant for production in India if Navy chooses it. World Missiles leader Raytheon has signed a LOI with Tata Power SED to design a strategy for co-developing the Javelin missile system for various platforms. The LOI establishes a framework for the transfer of technology and future assistance on the technologies. India targets defense exports of $2 billion by 2019. India exported defense equipment worth 1.5 billion rupees in 2014-15 and 2 billion rupees in 2016. India eyes to export defense equipment to countries like Bangladesh, Vietnam, Mauritius, Afghanistan and Oman. The push in defense exports is accompanied by increased production in ordnance factory boards and defense public sector units. In last 2 years, production in OFBs and DPSUs have soared up by over 25%. At least 16 to 17 countries are interested in buying defense equipment from India. If China is global consumer products manufacturer, then India can become a hub for defense manufacturing.
वाह मोदी जी वाह वाह वाह